Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Mark has a favorite fishing spot. It's a wild place, teeming with trout, deer, and elk, and it's up for sale. Who bought Mark's paradise, and would it remain wild? We'll find out at the end of this video. But first, if you are in the habit of buying and selling land or other niche real estate products, you should understand the basics of an option contract. And in today's video, we have the top things you ought to know. Number 1. What is an option contract in real estate? Option contracts are legal documents that grant a buyer or investor the option to purchase real estate from a seller. The seller will offer an exclusive option to buy a property within a limited period of time. While the buyer has exclusive rights, they are not under any obligation to follow through with the purchase. However, if they decline to move forward, they do owe the seller a fee. Number 2. What is the purpose of an option contract? Primarily, an option contract gives the buyer alternatives. It allows the buyer to fix the price for a certain period of time. And during this time, the buyer can obtain funding, complete their due diligence, entitle the land, or find a second buyer. Number 3. Let's look at an example. Say you are looking to buy a large parcel of land in order to subdivide and develop a series of single-family homes. The seller is looking for $1 million, and you are unsure whether you can obtain funding. You are also not certain whether you will be able to get all necessary approvals in order to complete the subdivision. Since putting together funding and entitling the land will take some time, you decide to sign an option contract that allows you to lock in the purchase price of $1 million for 1 year. The seller will not sell to anyone else during this year, and you can then put together your funds and determine whether it is feasible to move forward with the project. At the end of the year, if you've obtained the funding and are happy with your due diligence, you can go ahead and buy the property. Alternatively, if funding falls through or an issue comes up, you can pay the seller the option fee and walk away. Number 4. Now at this point you may be thinking, this sounds great for the buyer, but what are the advantages of an option contract for the seller? An option contract may appeal to a seller in a variety of circumstances, especially if the property is a non-traditional piece of real estate that may not be so easy to sell, such as vacant land. An option contract may help you attract more buyers since it allows the buyer to complete their due diligence and lowers the risk. Either way, the option contract guarantees you get an option fee even if an interested seller backs out. In addition, an option contract can also give you, as the seller, time to relocate or conduct other necessary business. And finally, number 5. What should an option contract cover? Well, first, an option contract should be in writing and at a minimum include the signatures of all parties, the date of execution, the date of expiration, verification that the seller is the title holder, the address of the property or its legal description, the purchase price, the option fee, and the state under whose laws the contract is bound. Let's take a quick look at an example. This is a very simple option, but you'll see that it gives the names of the parties, the purchase price, a place to put the legal description of the property, the date when the contract expires, the amount that the buyer will pay if they decide not to exercise the option, and then the signatures of all parties. But now that we've covered the basics of option contracts, let's return to Mark's fishing hole. Mark is a guide who takes clients down the Flathead River in Montana. The river is a treasure trove of trout, but it is so much more than that. As the river enters Montana's Flathead Valley through Bad Rock Canyon, just east of Columbia Falls, it becomes wild territory. A fact that Mark was reminded of one day when he rambled across the southern bank of the river and discovered a deep bear scrape. The bear markings stood at the entryway to nearly 800 acres of pristine land, a favorite spot for local hunters. But this land was not public. It was owned by the Columbia Falls Aluminum Company, and it was up for sale. It seemed destined to become another high-end development for wealthy out-of-state vacationers until a small coalition of conservationists put together a plan. The Flathead Land Trust, a community-based nonprofit dedicated to protecting wildlife habitat, approached the Columbia Falls Aluminum Company with an offer to purchase the land. To their surprise, the company accepted, provided they could find the funding. Right away, the land trust called the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Department, and the two organizations partnered together to enter into an option agreement for the purchase of the property. The partnership was given 2 years to secure more than $7 million in funding. So how did a scrappy coalition of local community members and state officials put together this kind of money? Well, the group was able to solicit $4 million in funding from the U.S. Forest Service, as well as another $2.5 million from Habitat Montana, a nonprofit that uses big game license fees to fund habitat conservation. But that still left a gap of almost $600,000, which fell on the Flathead Land Trust to fill. Did they make it? Yes. By the expiration date of the option contract, the Flathead Land Trust filled the gap through donations that came from 250 individuals as well as several local organizations. The best part? The majority of these donations came from local residents. So now, Mark's favorite fishing spot is the Bad Rock Canyon Wildlife Management Area, destined to remain wild and open forever. But what do you think? Do you have any stories about interesting deals that involved an option contract? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.